Hey, welcome to Mash on This, Mashable's daily culture and entertainment show that gives you tomorrow's biggest news stories today. I'm your host, Bob Woodruff with brain-fresh veins, also known as Story Greenberg. On Mash on This, we give you a quick rundown of what we think is the best the internet has to offer. So be sure to tell us what you think in the comments throughout the show, and we'll get to them at the end of the show. Now let's get into it. We've been steadily following the fallout from Bill O'Reilly's adventures in being a creepy old man. Now, the advertisers that have pulled sponsorship from the O'Reilly factor are up to 60. But there's one entity out there that still wants to run ads on the Fox News program, and it's none other than John Oliver. After the brilliant comedian tore into the details surrounding O'Reilly's gross sexual advances towards women and how unsurprising it was that Donald Trump defended them, he then told the audience that he has created a commercial featuring the catheter cowboy to run during the O'Reilly factor that should hopefully get the president's attention. Take a look.
In case they do, here's a sneak peek of what we would like the president to see.
Attention catheter patients.
Howdy again. I'm a professional cowboy. I use catheters, and there's two things I know. I don't like pain when I cath, and repeated unwanted sexual advances or obscene remarks in the workplace constitute sexual harassment. If there's a power disparity between the two parties, well, that's about as inappropriate as lubricating a catheter with hot sauce, partner. Why would you do that? I do not like pain when I cath. And if you've got a friend who is accused of something like that over and over again, I might think twice about defending him, because that just contributes to a culture where women don't want to come forward. And I know you might not care about that. But on some level, you gotta know, you're blowing this. You're sacrificing the chance to make society a better place on the altar of your towering ignorance and fragile ego. You are blowing this. That's all for now. Goodbye, everyone watching this, and definitely not one specific person.
John Oliver also said on the show that he and his team submitted the ad to stations in DC and New York on Friday, but they have yet to hear back. I really hope it does actually run, though. It's only been a couple of weeks since United Airlines refused to let two girls onto a flight because they were wearing leggings. I think they could feel people forgetting about how crappy they are, so they decided to get back into the news with yet another embarrassing passenger debacle. Last night, a United Airlines flight from Chicago to Louisville was overbooked, and nobody was volunteering to give up their seat, even after they offered $400 and a night at a hotel. Then they upped the offer to $800, but they still couldn't get anybody to give up any of the 4 seats United needed in order to take off. So they turned to a computer to randomly select the 4, one of whom was a doctor. But when that doctor tried to explain that he couldn't take a later flight because he had patient's appointments to meet, security then forced him off the plane, and you can see this for yourself, but be warned that this video does show security throwing a man against an armrest, resulting in a little bit of blood.
Guys, this is not right. Can't the pilots drive to Louisville? Can't they rent a car for the pilots and have them drive? No! Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God! No! Oh my Guys, my God! What are you doing? No, this is wrong. Oh my God! Look at what you did to him! Oh my God!
Audra Bridges, who posted this video on Facebook, said the man ran back onto the plane afterward, disoriented and with a bloody face, and a medical crew had to remove him from the plane a second time. United confirmed the incident in a series of tweets, but directed questions to law enforcement. According to the Chicago local news, United apologized for the overbooking situation, but didn't apologize or even acknowledge their use of force to remove the passenger from the plane. So, for those of you innocent people with busy lives looking to book a flight anytime soon, maybe try to fly with literally any other airline besides United, because they clearly do not really care about their passengers or their own reputation. Now, imagine yourself in your comfy bed, sleeping and minding your own business, and then some douchebag in camouflage gear barges into your room and shoots you point blank just as you're starting to dream. This is exactly what President Trump deems as okay practice when it comes to bears. He just signed a bill into law which rolled back Alaska's ban on tracking and killing hibernating bears, in addition to wolf cubs in dens. It also allows for hunters to target the animals from helicopters. So just to recap, now both the U.S. House and Senate made it okay for Alaskan hunters to kill bears who are sleeping. But isn't hunting supposed to be a sport? And where is the challenge if your prey is just sleeping peacefully? I don't really get it. But what I do understand is that the Republican-sponsored legislation impacts 76.8 million acres of federally protected national preserves across Alaska. The state's Republican Congressman Don Young, who introduced this disgusting measure, argued that states' rights were being infringed upon and that if Alaskans weren't happy with the bill, they should stop re-electing him. So, to my Alaskan friends, please do what the man asks and just stop electing him. It might help save our wildlife and our nation's sanity. Breaking up is hard to do, but there are good ways and bad ways to go about it. It used to be that the most heinous way to dump someone was via text message breakup. There's even a parody video about it by Liam Sullivan that I highly recommend. But now, there's an even more obscure way to say we are over without needing to utter those words out loud. A teen at Brigham Young University named Kristen decided to end things with her boo Wyatt by creating a playlist on Spotify with the song's title spelling out the phrase, "Do you still want to kiss me because I am kinda loving someone else?" Not only was this move both creative and cowardly, but she was also kind of a little wishy-washy with the kinda wording and also trying to insinuate that maybe he too wasn't sure if he wants to kiss her either. Teens and their mind games, am I right? So after Kristen's sister posted the playlist on Twitter for the world to see, Wyatt decided to let the world know how he feels about the whole thing. But he was definitely a little more blunt about it, which I can respect. But what do you think about using Spotify as a means to break someone's heart? Would you be pissed if somebody made a breakup playlist for you? Let us know in the comments. You know that feeling when you just got done a super hard workout, you're exhausted, you don't have enough oxygen, and you're on a mountain, and then you're just like, man, I just want to rage so hard to some intense club music right now. Oh, you mean nobody feels that way? Well, someone should let Paul Oakenfold know, because the British DJ has reached Mount Everest base camp where he plans to host the highest party on Earth, performing a set 17,600 feet above sea level. Apparently Oakenfold trained for 4 months before arriving in Nepal and had no trekking experience before setting out on the 10-day walk with a team of yaks and porters hauling the audio equipment needed for the event. Yes, actual long-haired oxen carrying a bunch of speakers up Mount Everest, which is its own unique feat, in my opinion. The party is in the first in the producer's soundtrack series, which aims to bring awareness for the effects of global warming and to raise funds to help survivors of Nepal's devastating 2015 earthquake. But even though it's for a good cause, what kind of crowd is Oakenfold hoping for up there? Because if I just schlepped up the highest mountain in the world, I honestly would not be in any mood for a rave. And also, loud dance beats echoing from a mountaintop. Can you say avalanche? Has nobody thought of that at all? I just hope that he breaks the DJ code and takes some requests from the climbers, because they definitely deserve it. Yes, play your best stuff up there. So I've got a little bit of a hot take for this next story. Over the weekend, Alec Baldwin was on SNL, where he appeared both in the cold open and in a scene where he played Bill O'Reilly and Donald Trump. And if you missed that, here is that scene.
I'm a big fan as well, and it's an honor to have you here. And can I just say, Mr. President, you look even better on TV.
I know, I do. I look fantastic. And can I tell you something? I actually see a lot of myself in you, Bill.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you for coming to my defense last week, even though no one asked you to. And you even went as far as saying, quote, Bill O'Reilly did nothing wrong.
That's correct.
And that's based upon...
Hunch, just a loose hunch.
Okay, so many people saw this and probably thought, wow, like, what a tour de force to be satirizing Trump and O'Reilly at the same time. And also, I do think Alec Baldwin is a super talented comedic actor. However, Saturday Night Live is a show with an ensemble cast, many of whom could have played Bill O'Reilly or even Trump, given that Alec already played him in a previous sketch that same night. So does Baldwin really need to play both characters in that scene? To be fair, I'm not sure how this went down in the writer's room. Like, maybe everybody on staff was game for this. But it sort of seemed like all of a sudden it was the Alec Baldwin show, and it took attention away from the meat of the sketch in that moment. I also happen to think that Baldwin's Trump impression isn't as strong as Anthony Antamanic's, and his performance is further weakened when he doesn't have a live person to play off of. So all I'm saying is that I'd like to see more SNL cast members involved in Baldwin's scenes since, you know, that's what they were hired to do, I believe.